Welcome to Lemoore City Council Chambers located at 429 C Street. This is the April 7th meeting. Please silence all electronic devices as a courtesy to those in attendance. Thank you. If you could please stand for the invocation given by Kimberly Nelson from Lifeway Church and remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance led by Councilmember Lyons.
Father God, we come before you, Lord, and we invite you into this meeting. We ask for your wisdom and direction. We ask that you would be with our leaders, Lord, and be with our community. Guide them and guide us, Lord, as we follow you, Lord. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Ready, salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Councilmember Brewster.
Here.
Councilmember Lyons.
Here.
Councilmember Cruz.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Gornick.
Here.
And Mayor Matthews.
Present.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll go ahead and agenda approval, additions and or deletions. I don't believe there are any. So we'll go ahead and move on to ceremonial presentation. Item 1-1, remembrance of Chamber of Commerce President Brenda Martin. So we do have a certificate for her family, but I do want to just read out what the certificate says. In recognition of Brenda Martin, not only for her contributions to the Lemoore Chamber of Commerce, but also for her contributions to the community as a whole, her ability to bring everyone together, her infectious laugh, dedication, love for Lemoore, generosity, and uplifting spirit. If you knew Brenda, you knew that she was definitely one of a kind, amazing individual for our community. She would do anything to help anyone succeed. Any event that was going on, she would bend over backwards to make sure that it happened, and it was amazing and excellent. We had many conversations on the future of Lemoore and what we both saw and dreamed could happen in the future. And I hope one day we get to see some of those dreams come true. And I know she'll be looking down on us when that happens and probably critiquing it with her clipboard and her binders and making sure that everything is just so. But she was an amazing person, an even more amazing friend, and she was great at what she did. So she is definitely missed in our community and a loss that we will feel forever, I think. But she was very special. So I don't know if anybody else on council would like to say anything. If not, I'll open up to the public. If anyone from the public would like to say anything, you can please come to the podium.
Good evening, Madam Mayor and Council. Alex C. Walker, Chief Financial Officer for Lemoore Chamber of Commerce. I just wanted to take a moment to thank the city for recognizing Brenda for the tremendous and incredible person she is and continues to be in our hearts and our memory. I have no more words I can express other than that it's a tremendous loss for our community, but as a man of faith, I know that she's in a better place, and I'm so thankful every day for the impact that she has for our city and the legacy that she's left. In celebration of her life, the Lemoore Chamber will be celebrating her in our January installation 2027 as the first recipient of their Legal Legacy Award. And my fellow board members and I continue every day to reflect on those binders and all the good that she's done and continues to do through her legacy. Thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Leanne Rossiter. I've been a volunteer, my husband and I, for probably 20 plus years, and we worked with Brenda when she was under different CEOs, but she was the spirit behind those CEOs. She was always willing to do extra, always included all members of the community, as well as the extra people that she came across that were outside of the community. But on behalf of my husband and I, we will always have her in our memory. Thank you.
Thank you. At this time, we'd like to present Brenda's family with a certificate, if you would like to come forward. Did you guys want to say anything?
No, that's case. Thank you so much. Thanks a lot.
If you wouldn't mind joining me for a moment of silence. Thank you. We have no study session. And next we have public comment. Public comment will be in accordance with the attached policy. This time is reserved for members of the audience to address the city council on items of interest that are not on the agenda and are within the subject matter jurisdiction of the council. It is recommended that speakers limit their comments to 3 minutes each, and it is requested that no comments be made during this period on items on the agenda. The council is prohibited by law from taking any action on matters discussed that are not on the agenda. Prior to addressing the council, any handouts for council will be provided to the city clerk for distribution to the council and appropriate staff. The public will have an opportunity to comment on items on the agenda once the item has been called and the mayor opens the item to the public. Is there any public comment at this time? Mr. Walker?
Thank you, Madam Mayor and Council. And again, just thank you for recognizing Brenda. And I know it's gonna feel a little awkward for me going from the solemn tone to something cheerful, but as a friend of Brenda, I know that she would want us to celebrate and use that as a reflection for mobility and going upward. And in that spirit, on behalf of the Rotary Club of Lemoore, I am deeply excited to announce that this coming Saturday, April 11th, is our food drive for the community of Lemoore, benefiting Lemoore Christian Aid and the food pantry at Lemoore College. It really is an exciting event, and not only are we going to be collecting non-perishable food items that benefit those two incredible food centers, but we're also going to be accepting cash donations, especially through our website, if you want to make an online payment. And I really do encourage everybody in our community to consider that option, because we'll be matching donations up to $5,000. So if you want to double your money and make a lasting impact in the city of Lemoore, for the community of Lemoore, and truthfully all across Kings County, because Lemoore Christian Aid benefits all of Kings County as far as Avenel, Corcoran, etc. It really is an important event, and I really hope to see everybody there. You can stop and get your groceries 10 a.m. to 2 o'clock, and you can also make those donations as well. And then we'll also be celebrating the Rotary Club of Lemoore at the Golden Eagle night at Lemoore College. So it's a really exciting time for our community coming together to not only support each other, but they'll lift each other together. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Any other public comment? Okay, we'll go ahead and move on to department and city manager reports. Is our city manager online? Okay. Do you have anything, Marissa?
Yeah, can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah.
Okay, so I just want to apologize to the public for not being there in person. It's my youngest son's spring break, and our oldest daughter just had her first baby in Ohio. So we're meeting our new granddaughter this week, and that's why I'm on Zoom. So I apologize, especially to Brenda's family, for not being physically there. Brenda was a very important person in my life, just in the short time that I knew her. And I do appreciate everything that she did for me as I came into the city of Lemoore in the city manager role, and all the support that she provided. I just wanted to thank everybody for making the Easter egg hunt a success this past Saturday. And also let the community know that we are planning our first 4th of July block party, which will be held downtown on Saturday, July 4th. So more information will be coming on that, and that's all I have. And I believe that the chief has some announcements.
Thank you.
Diving you off, chief. Not even here.
Okay. I haven't talked to the city manager in over a week. She got me red. Good evening, Mayor and Council. Just a couple things. We are gearing up for the every 15 minutes event out at Lemoore High School. This will take place on April 16th and 17th. There will be a large amount of first responders in and around the area on those 2 days. And then the AOJ Expo out at Lemoore College will be taking place on May 7th. We will have a booth set up out there as well as other local law enforcement agencies. Thank you.
Thank you. Now we'll go ahead and move on to consent calendar. Items considered routine in nature are placed on the consent calendar. They will be considered and voted upon in one vote as one item unless a council member or member of the public requests individual consideration. 4-1, approval minutes, regular meeting, March 17th, 2026. 4-2, approval finance department update, February 2026. 4-3, approval budget amendment of $35,000 from the general fund for completion of the City of Lemoore sixth cycle housing element, and authorize the city manager to sign the QK work order for services listed in this staff report. 4-4, approval budget amendment of $53,300 from the general fund, grant administered and assistance for the OLDCC project, and authorize city manager to sign work order. 4-5, approval resolution 2026-09, renewing ordinance 2022-02, and policy 709 of the Lemoore Police Department policy manual authorizing the use of military equipment in accordance with government code section 7070. 5-6, approval resolution 2026-10, new city seal design contest. 4-7, approval authorization to transition joint bank account from Bank of America to Valley Strong Credit Union for joint account with Laguna Irrigation District. 4-8, approval second reading of ordinance number 2026-03, adjusting city council stipend. Would any member of council like to pull any of those items?
4.2 and 4.3.
Anyone like to pull any other items from the consent calendar? Is there any member of the public that would like to pull any of the consent calendar items? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion to approve consent calendar items 4-1, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8.
Motion.
I have a motion by Councilmember Lyons,
Second.
second by Councilmember Cruz. Councilmember Lyons.
Aye.
Councilmember Cruz.
Yes.
Councilmember Brewster.
Yes.
Councilmember Gornick.
No.
And I vote yes as well. Passes 5 in favor. 4-2, did you have specific questions or?
Yeah. Never report.
So you just wanted to say the report?
No, I wanted to talk in front of the public, to talk about our finances. Huh?
To talk about our finances?
Yeah, this was supposed to be an update on our finance department.
This staff report is actually mislabeled. The subject should read that this is for the investment policy update only. There's not a department update at this point.
So, but I think at the last meeting, you did say we were going to get an update on our general fund expenditures.
At the next budget workshop, which is at the next meeting.
Okay,
Yeah, on the 21st. I will have
Good.
something for you.
that's it.
Okay.
Any other questions or comments from council?
Negative.
Any questions or comments from the public on this item? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion by Councilmember Gornick and a second by Councilmember Brewster. Councilmember Gornick. Councilmember Brewster.
Yes.
Councilmember Lyons.
Aye.
Councilmember Cruz.
Yes.
And I vote yes as well. Passes 5 in favor. Now we have 4-3. Did you have specific questions for that one?
Yeah, let's talk a little bit about that if we can, Christie, in terms of why we're doing this.
So we were part of a multi-jurisdictional housing element with Kings County, City of Corcoran, Avenel, Hanford. And this has been, I would say, probably a 4-year process. The consultant that was hired to do the work was hired late. We were having issues getting correct information submitted to HCD, and if you're not aware already, the housing element process has changed. This is actually my first time going through the housing element, so forgive me, this has been a learning process. But apparently the review process by HCD is more extreme, considerably more extreme than it used to be. So there have been a lot of back and forth. We had meetings with Kings County. I do know that in the beginning, the comments that we received, we ended up waiting on Hanford for quite a bit of time. Everybody was ready to go, but Hanford had some issues, they needed to fix some things with their numbers, and that took some time. And so that put us behind. We had some meetings with HCD, and then Kings County gave us the option of how does each city want to move forward? Did we want to continue with the multi-jurisdictional, or did we want to move forward on our own? We had approximately 10 days to figure that out. Had a meeting with staff and decided that the best way to control our own destiny through this process was to just do it ourselves. And we were assured by QK that they could get this process done. They had continually supplied the consultant with information that wasn't then presented to HCD. There's still mistakes in the actual, each city has an appendices to the housing element document, and the document itself has inconsistencies. And even if HCD doesn't pick up on those inconsistencies, we still know that those things aren't correct. So I am happy to say that QK did submit. We made this determination on March 4th, and QK was able to work day and night and weekends and get our housing element submitted by March 26th. The reason that I'm asking for this budget amendment is because I wasn't planning on this expenditure out of my professional contract services. And when I do my budget, I'm pretty particular, and I know how much I'm going to spend, and so I don't leave much wiggle room. So, but I wanted this to be separate so that we could track it, and so that's why I'm coming here. If you have any specific questions, let me know.
No, I just wanted the public to hear that as well,
Yeah,
that
and
we weren't really served well by that multi-jurisdictional.
yeah, and
approach.
I would like to say, I hope I'm not giving too much information, but I would like to say that also the city has not spent, I don't want to overtalk. The city did receive funds in 2023. We had the LEAP grant, and we did receive $36,000 and some change to get our first draft going. Lemoore and Avenel were both using grant funds. So the county went ahead and invoiced us for the first phase of the contractor's whole contract. It was like that phase. And we did get reimbursed for that. So it didn't cost us anything, but that still did get us something to work from for the for QK to work off of. The review itself over this time period has been about $16,000 reviewing the consultant's work. So, it's just, we don't know if we actually beat Kings County by a day. Kings County resubmitted theirs on the 27th. So, but we don't know how many mistakes they're going to have in there. So I'm pretty confident that ours is going to be a little better off. But I just wanted to be transparent and let you guys know that this wasn't something that we spent a whole lot of money on and then walked away. It seems futile to keep having our consultant review someone else's work and just have an open tab on this where we can, like I said, be in control of our own destiny for the city of Lemoore.
Will you keep us posted on when will we be able to see the March report that was submitted?
Do what?
You said that there was a March deadline.
We resubmitted on March, we submitted our own on March 26th.
We haven't
we-
seen it yet. We have-
Well, it hasn't been reviewed. It's in review.
With
Um,
HCD.
Yeah, to HCD, we submitted it. So, we probably wouldn't until we get some comments back. I'd be happy to
Yeah.
share the comments with you, but.
Good.
Yeah. Did
And-
you have any other questions?
I would just like to share that this was brought to my attention probably, I want to say maybe a year and a half ago when I had asked about some grant funding. That I was told that we weren't going to be able to receive it because our housing element has not been approved. I thought that it was just the city of Lemoore that was affected. Because I know that the city of Hanford, there's certain monies that they still receive because of their population. And I assumed that maybe Corcoran and Avenel received monies as well, regardless of a housing element being passed because they're considered disadvantaged communities. But then I learned that that wasn't the case. So I'm not really sure why nobody else was kind of sounding the alarm about this, but when we had our last city county coordinating meeting here in Lemoore, that was a topic that we brought up. And I knew some of it, but then through staff, I learned a lot more that we were missing out on because of that. And I think us talking about that at the city county coordinating meeting, kind of everybody was a little bit shocked and like, what can we do? Then it was like everybody was like, how can we fix this? What do we need to do? And then a lot of conversations started happening. And then I think staff was trying to figure out what to do. A 5 jurisdictional housing element, obviously in hindsight would come with difficulties. You could maybe see how a mistake in one jurisdiction would hold up everyone else, or how that could be an issue. So I do fully support us going out and doing ours on our own, because I think, like you said, we're taking our own destiny into our own hands. And that was probably frustrating for staff as well, as we had no authority over the consultant. It was through the county, I believe. So we couldn't, we could only submit our information and wait.
And his contract, he was paid a flat amount, so it doesn't matter how long, not that he was sitting on it. There was a lot of conversations back and forth with he and the HCD, but it wasn't, it could take 3 more years and he's not gonna make a dime, so.
Well, the other thing that was kind of frustrating is based upon at least the reports that we were getting in terms of our categories. We were doing okay in our categories. And I hate to be penalized for it.
Well, that's the frustrating part, is because the governor did put out a statement that was disingenuous in, I would say my opinion, but I think it's just disingenuous. I'm choosing my words.
Yeah.
Because it did make it seem, he just said that we're not doing what we're supposed to do, and that's false. Again, I'm choosing my words. We've gone over and above. We have done things that this council wasn't necessarily on board for. And you hear some of the conversations happen when we have housing developments come in that, you know, we don't like that. But we did make those determinations because of this housing element and trying to encourage housing growth in the city. So for an individual who doesn't really know what we're doing to say that on such a public level, found it very, again, choosing my words, frustrating, to say the least, because we have done, it's literally, and I am oversimplifying this, but it's literally paperwork. It's the paperwork portion of what we're actually doing. So it's not that we're not doing it. It's the paperwork going through the state bureaucracy that is the holdup. And as you said, as the housing elements have gone on, they keep moving the goalposts. They keep making it more difficult. And this isn't something that's, you know, just that we're just experiencing. This is all the cities all over California are experiencing the same thing. I sit on the Housing Community and Economic Development Policy Committee, and I hear it a lot. There are some that can get theirs passed, and most people, it takes 6 to 8 submissions before you can actually get something passed. So I just want to publicly say that anybody that thinks that we are not doing our part in trying to promote housing, we are. Clearly we are. We actually have projects that are on hold because of the housing element not being certified and funding being withheld from certain projects that would actually put housing in, but those projects are being on hold because of the paperwork. So until it's certified, those projects that we've approved, the senior apartments, of senior living apartments and the affordable housing project that's going in on Cedar and 19.5 Avenue, those aren't being built because of our housing element not being certified.
Well,
So,
and we applied for Cal Home funds too, and we received a denial because of the housing element, and that would have provided us with money to get first-time home buyer assistance
Right.
or home repair to seniors, that sort of thing. So I just, again, I did want to just let you know, hoping I would ask that you approve this, please, and give QK some kudos because I think both of us, I know Steve and I were having a conversation today and we're like, what, wait, what? Looking at something and March is a blur. We were working, they were working on the housing element, but just trying to navigate all of this. And I do know that they spent day, night, weekends trying to get this through for Lemoore. And so I wanted to say that publicly.
Thank you.
yes, we do appreciate that very much. I said all of that just because there is that narrative out there, and I've seen some comments on social media, and I just want to make sure that that the truth is out there and what we are actually doing. So with that said, I will entertain, oh wait, is there any questions or comments from council? Any questions or comments from the public? Seeing none, I'll go ahead and entertain a motion. So I have a motion by Councilmember Gornick, second by Councilmember Brewster. Councilmember Gornick.
Aye.
Councilmember Brewster.
Yes.
Councilmember Lyons.
Yes.
Councilmember Cruz.
Yes.
And I vote yes as well. Passes 5 in favor. Now we'll move on to public hearing, item 5-1, general plan amendment number 2026-01, zoning map amendment number 202601, and tentative subdivision map tract number 948. Steve. Sorry, I didn't know who was presenting that.
Talking to Christie, sorry. Good evening, council. Steve Brandt, city planner. This project is a proposal that was requested by Coker Ellsworth and Dan Pace. It is for thank you. It is for a tentative subdivision map on about 17 acres that would create 80 new subdivision single-family lots, along with a storm basin to support the site and a 1.26 acre park. The site is located on between Vine Street and Champion Street, just south of State Route 198.
Bring it up. No,
He's got to click it.
no, let's go.
You know, there, for a second. There you go, okay. So this is the site. As you can see, it's just south of Highway 198 between Champion and Vine. And as I said, 80 lots, 17.31 acres. The site is currently zoned very low density residential, and As part of this project, the applicant's proposing to rezone the site to low-density residential. The difference being a very low density would be something like half-acre lots, 1-acre lots. Low-density residential is what we have in most of the city for the single-family subdivisions.
Steve, let me stop you right there.
Yeah,
So look at the lots around there. Particularly the along Champion there. Those are much larger lots. Why would we put a very dense development next to these lots? Why would you change that?
to get a better housing yield, to be better efficiency for the land that we've got. We only have so much land.
We have quite a bit of land that's not developed. I mean, these guys have
And
some land out on Silverado 19.5 there, don't they?
I'm not aware of that. I'm just looking at this project. I will say, though, that the site was approved for a larger lot subdivision in 2000, right? 2004, 28 lots. And Mr. Ellsworth never turned in a final map on that site. So that tentative map that was approved in 2004 expired in 2016. So he's come back now with a different map that has more lots in it. Some of the things we did, you can go to the next slide. That shows the subdivision layout. So in working with the applicant and their engineer, we were able to get access points to both Champion and Vine, so that the site could have 2 access points, and add in the park so that the subdivision is providing their required park area. And so that'll be a public park, but it obviously mainly serves that subdivision. In your staff report, you can see the size of the lots. There aren't any lots lower than 5,500 square feet. The majority of the lots are between 5,500 and 6,000 square feet. And then the rest are over 6,000 square feet, mostly in the 6,000 to 7,000 square foot range. We did do a mitigated negative declaration and evaluated the site for CEQA. Part of that was evaluating the traffic impacts. They did do an analysis of the area, and I mean, really, the site does not, when you analyze for traffic, you're analyzing for vehicle miles traveled and for congestion.
What were the results of that traffic study?
Vehicle miles traveled is low because it's in the middle of the city. And the congestion is not going to be an issue because there's not congestion there now. I mean, we're at level of service A right now.
I drive that every day. There's
But is there congestion? Do you ever have to wait for traffic? Is there ever a traffic jam?
Well, there's not a traffic jam.
So a traffic jam would be
There's
level of
traffic
service E
confusion.
or F.
Yeah, that intersection is not aligned properly on is it Champion or yeah. I
Okay.
think it's Champion.
No,
It's
and
cattywampus.
I'll admit that the general plan has Iona planned for a 4-lane collector road whenever the city decides to build it.
Whenever the city decides to build it. Do you know anything about the lighting on that street?
There would probably be lighting put in as well, along with curb, gutter, and
We've
sidewalk.
been asking for lighting over there for a long time. PG&E said.
So the way this works, since that's off-site from this project, the applicant is paying their traffic impact fees into the fund, and that fund can be used for road improvements.
So you're gonna put 160 more cars in this area. And you have on 18th Avenue, you have the Little League field, which has no curb and gutter on both sides of the street, golf course or there. It's 2 lane, no sidewalk for 1 mile from 18th to 19th. There's no sidewalk. People, kids now, because of the other development on the east end, they ride their bikes, they ride their scooters, they walk their dogs. I can't support it. I just think it's, we're setting ourselves up for some, well, I'm not gonna say it, but
Thank you.
for us to put that kind of development on a road that's not prepared to handle that now, says more about our judgment than anything. And we
No,
don't.
and I
we don't-
totally understand that position.
That's fine. I don't understand yours.
Okay. So, we prepared a mitigating negative declaration in accordance with CEQA, and so that will be part of your approval. If you so choose to approve. The planning commission reviewed the project on March the 9th and voted unanimously to recommend approval to the city council. There is let's go to the next slide. So as part of this, there's a general plan amendment that would change the site from very low density to low density residential. And then if you go to the next slide, accompanying zoning map change as well, that would also go from very low density to low density.
Steve, how does that work? I don't understand that.
We're proposing to make a change to the zoning map because the current zoning would not allow the size lots that are being proposed.
We'll get that. All right.
I just have a couple questions on it. So where's the access actually going to be on Champion and Vine? Because I'm looking at the map right now and I'm seeing.
It's gonna be at the end by the cul-de-sac. It's gonna run on the north end of that property line right there.
So it's going to be a frontage road along 198 then basically.
Almost. Yeah.
No, it will not connect to 198.
No.
No, but like be like
It'll
a.
tie into that cul-de-sac to
It'll on the
Vine
on
cul-de-sac.
the west side is Vine, and it will tie into the end of Vine, because Vine
It's that
currently
property
dead
line
ends.
Right there, that's that property.
So it's going to go right.
Above it, yeah.
And then there'll be two,
That's a ponding basin too, right there in that triangle, yeah?
yes,
I don't have my glasses.
That's the park too, right? I know.
Yeah, and then the park's right
and the
there
park
on
is
the highway.
to the east, yeah.
And you're proposing a 6-foot wall just for the residential area? Not for the park also?
Not for the park.
Why?
The walls are for noise attenuation, and
How about for balls?
what's that?
The balls. Get out on.
Well,
Hey, kids play ball.
it'll be a city park. If there's an issue, we can work with that. And, again, these are conditions of approval. If you feel there's a need to raise the wall, we can discuss that.
And they want to put 80 lots in this. It's tight. Are they going to put walls up against the existing properties?
It'll be, you mean, like when they back up to those properties, it'll be a wood
Yeah, I'm
fence.
assuming there's existing houses there on Vine, right?
Yes,
That
where they back up to each other, it'll be a new wood fence.
Is that the same? You can put a wood fence on the back of those houses on the south end, the development?
Yes,
Well, you're working for the city of Lemoore, huh?
that is all I have. If you have
That's the
any
end
other
of the
questions, yeah.
presentation. Is there any other questions or comments from council?
I'm good at this time.
I just, I have a question. Our current ordinance, our minimum lot size is
5,000
5,000. So none of the lot sizes are smaller than our
than the minimum. Correct.
ordinance, which is nice. This will be adding a park to an area of town that, other than the Little League field, doesn't have a park. This is also the kind of development that helps bring in the funds, as you mentioned, to put in curb gutter sidewalks in an area that doesn't currently have them. And bring other improvements to that area. So I just wanted to make sure that that was understood. I think I had a couple other things, but I did not write them down. Maybe they'll come to me.
Let me ask you a question. We got finance. What's in our fund that we have right now off the top of your head? You have no idea. Is it bigger than $50,000 or is it, Okay.
With that, I'm going to go ahead and open the public hearing. Is there any public comment on this item?
Good evening, Mayor, council members. My name is Mike Hamsley with Harbison International Inc., located at 2755 East Shaw Avenue, Fresno, California. We've been the engineering company that worked with Mr. Coker Ellsworth and Mr. Pace Brothers. And we have done subdivisions in this city since 1998, starting back then. We have developed a golf course nearby. All the subdivisions, all the lots were developed over there. And we worked on this property back in 2002. We started 2004. We got an approval on a tentative map for 28 lots, about half an acre lot. And we could not find any developers. We could not find any buyers. Till 2016, we couldn't find the people that willing to buy a piece of property or buy a house on that size acre in this community. They were not capable to develop this. We could not find the buyer. We could not go ahead and spend the money and develop those. So we sat on this property, or the owner sat on this property in 2016 until now, based on the elements that's required by the state, by the governor. We need to meet the minimum requirement for entry-level homes, which I know that the city is working on getting this plan in effect. So we looked at this property and we found it to be equivalent to an infill area that's close to the park, close to the golf course, and provide the park, and it'll be an infill area with a minimum size lot exceeding the minimum city requirement, and with average lot about 6,000 square feet, similar to the lots that we developed at the golf course. And we'll be looking for an entry-level homes for people who are ready to retire, or for people who are starting out in a small piece of property that they cannot, either especially retired people, they don't want to have a big lot that they have to maintain, and close to the convenience of playing golf if you're retired. And we came up with a plan working with the city staff for the last 2 years to come up with a developable plan that would be beneficial for the city of Lemoore. We've been working in the city of Lemoore for a long time, and we will not be putting a project that is not beneficial for the city of Lemoore and for the people living in the city of Lemoore. And if you have any other question on this project, we'll be very happy to answer.
Yeah, I take issue with the fact when you say we're not meeting our low income level.
No, I didn't say you're not using. I said to meet the minimum requirement that's set by the state for infill properties.
We're within our quota.
I'm glad to hear that.
I just don't want you to misrepresent us.
I'm not trying to misrepresent. I'm trying to say that this property found it.
I just want you to use that as an excuse to.
I'm not trying to use that excuse now.
Good. As long as we're clear.
Any question regarding?
Do you have any other questions for?
So you guys have had this property for 20 years, 20 plus years?
Yes.
Okay.
And if it's not developed, it's going to be sitting there for another 24 years. Yeah.
No, I understand that. It's in my opinion, this is my opinion only. It's a funky, I get the golfing thing and all that, but it's kind of I agree with Dr. Gornick on some of his concerns on the lack of development in the area over there. With no sidewalks at all. These are all kind of like country living lots over here. How big is that? That's how many acres? 17. Um, I 80 lots seems like a lot, but I mean, yeah. One thing we are lacking in this town is parks. And we are lacking field use areas, backstops, football fields, all that kind of stuff. So I personally, for any developer that's wanting to come to Lemoore, I would love for the park use to be multi-use and not just, an area of grass, throw a backstop up somewhere, that kind of stuff. Because at the end of the day, we get yelled at for all that kind of stuff that's lacking. So, those are just my comments on the area.
If
Any
I
other-
understand, this park would be multi-use park.
Would you put a backstop up for baseball fields?
We will discuss it with the developer who's gonna be developing the property, and it'll be a condition that we place when we submit the building plans, and you guys will have another chance to review it.
Any other questions or comments from
Yeah.
council?
So I agree with Dr. Gornick and with Mr. Brewster over here. Everything they said, I agree with all of it, as well as. Yeah, just because it's not what I would want, doesn't mean it's not what someone wants. And I get that. And can you go back to the slide that showed we're gonna go from yes. Why those, so there's 2 lots in there on the top one. There's two lots that currently have houses on them. What would be did they request to go from very low density to just low density? Why are those 2 lots a part of that are developed?
On Vine.
On Vine, yeah. Is there advantage or is there?
It's more of, we added those in to the process just to not have them stand out by themselves and just have two lots with a different zoning than the others.
So
Do they own them? Ellsworth?
No,
No.
So those are privately owned.
yes,
Did you ask them by chance?
no.
Will it benefit them to go from very low density to just low density?
If they want to add a second house, it would benefit them, yes.
Yeah.
If they don't want to do anything, nothing changes.
Yeah, well, they will have a wooden fence behind them.
Yes.
I also have a wooden fence behind my house.
Me too.
And they'll have a ponding basin to their,
Yeah,
to the
that
north.
little triangle piece at the west end of the park.
There's some mosquitoes.
And the neighborhood will also have a second way out. Like if there was an accident
Which
at
way?
the south end of Vine, then they could go through the neighborhood to get to Champion.
Steve, with this addition of houses on the very far north end of this area of town, does that get us to the requirement of having like street lights or anything like that on Iona and Champion, or Vine and Iona? Any of those? Do they need to be 4-way stops? Do they need to be controlled by a stoplight? Anything?
It wouldn't bring us to that level with this amount. But there may be a point where those might be 4-way stops.
Steve,
I
what's
don't
the-
see a point where they'd be signals. I mean, I think 19th and Iona is a future signal.
Oh, yeah.
And so is Lemoore and Iona.
Yeah.
So what is the amount? What's the threshold?
Oh, I don't know the exact number. It's what the engineers do is a warrant study where they study how much traffic there is going in each direction. Because if there's an intersection and all the traffic is only going in one direction, then you just keep it a two-way stop. But when there's traffic starting to go in both directions, that's when you upgrade it to a four-way stop. And then if that still doesn't do it, that's when you upgrade to a signal.
So based upon my experience on Iona, the intersection that's going to have the most traffic with this development is going to be right there at Champion, where it's that intersection is cattywampus. Because you're going to have east and west traffic coming out of the developments in the south, and you're going to have this new development, and the ones coming down Vine are going to come there who want to go east or west. And so you're putting more traffic on that. Then you're putting more east, west, north, south traffic on with this development. And there's no, it's just one end of the Lemoore Avenue end, I think, has a 30-mile-an-hour speed limit, and then on towards the western end, it's 35 or 40. So
Going west on Iona,
yeah,
I think it's almost 50, it's like 45.
Go down Lemoore Avenue and there's several different speed limits. It's
Yeah.
just par for the course, unfortunately.
yeah, but they have traffic lights on Lemoore Avenue. There's ways to slow down the traffic. There isn't here.
Well, I think once we get development over there, that will come. There will be grants that we can apply for because now there is
I've
development
been
over
living
there.
25 years from now, nothing done with that though. And we got service stations, we've got new developments on the north end, we've got more developments on the south end. So that's what I'd like to know. I'd like to know how much money we have in the traffic or highway fund, whatever the hell we call it. So. And if it
We can get
takes
that for you.
for us, if it takes us for something to do that in the next development stage of budget, let's improve the highway so that if we get development in these areas, at least we've got places for people to ride bikes, walk dogs, whatever.
Any other questions or comments from the public? Go ahead, sir.
I would like to add also, even if we approve this map today, we still have another year to design the plans, another year to get approval. So it'll be 2 years before you see this project, turning dirt and building houses on it. If you choose to approve it tonight, which will give you plenty of time to figure out the budget and what the assessment for traffic analysis, and if you need to charge this project for additional traffic analysis to improve whatever you need to improve for circulation and for traffic lights.
But I just want to ask, how many developments do we have where we have maps, but the owners have the land? There's nothing on them. We got quite a few parcels in this town where we have that, right?
Yeah, the largest would be Lacey Ranch, which had a setback, had nothing to do with us. The owner had financial issues and
No,
that's been sold, but
I'm not asking for whether
yeah,
we have land that's in our jurisdiction, in our city limits,
yes,
that we could be developed. Okay,
yes. And this is one of them. This is in the city limits.
right, it's in the city limits, yeah. So that's about what, 250 homes? Lacey Ranch,
I believe it was
Oh,
more
it's
than that.
more.
I
It's like
believe it
about
was in the 500s.
550, I think.
that's good. I'm
Yeah.
just making it see everybody paying attention. So we got 500 homes up there. We've got maybe 300 left apartments and homes on the west side by the college. We just sold all of the Quell property, except for maybe 100 acres. That's going to be coming into the city soon, now. Okay.
No, and that's good. And it's we call it, informally, we call it the pipeline. So if you're a city that is developing and growing, you always want to have homes at various stages of development. We want proposed maps, approved maps, maps that are under construction, homes that are under construction, and you have that pipeline and it's always moving. It keeps our inspectors busy, keeps us busy.
You're proving
And
the
so-
point.
so-
we have no urgency to acquire new land to put homes on. What we do have is a planning problem to make sure that we have adequate homes in adequate development areas.
I'm not sure I understand that, but okay.
Well, my point is, this land was originally developed for a low density, for very low density. Okay, and that was 10 years ago. But they don't want to do that now. They want to bring in 80 homes instead of 35 homes or whatever.
Just for clarity, did you say it was 20 years ago?
It was 2004 that the
2004.
map was approved.
Okay. So it was 20,
If you
24 years
couldn't,
ago.
if you couldn't develop a
22 years
subdivision in 2005, something's wrong. Because that was the building boom. That was when everybody was building.
Well, it's probably location and
Could
streets.
be.
I mean, let's face it. At that time, we had streets, lights, land that could be developed in nice residential communities that we did in Lemoore. We didn't have that over there. We still don't have it. Except for the stuff that was developed by the golf course. And south of the golf course. That was done well. No argument there.
have a question for
I
you.
did notice though, the golf course development didn't widen Iona.
No, it didn't.
Why not?
You tell me.
I wasn't here then.
Neither was I.
I have a question for you, Dr. Gornick. If we left this very low density, what do you think the outcome would be in that area that would be different than what is proposed?
I have no idea. I just think putting more homes in on Iona, traffic wise, is not the best for our city. And those are going to be homes, what you say they're going to be seniors? Maybe. I don't know. Could be. You know, we got another right across the street, or not right across the street, but just down the road on 198. We got 300 homes going in by the high school. Yeah, I hate to see that traffic mess develop when they all get built. Good luck, chief.
Mr. Reed, you had a question? And then we'll go to the online comment or question.
Not a question, a comment. On Iona for the Vine and Champion intersections, those might be good locations for a roundabout. I think a roundabout would facilitate the easy movement of traffic. I know there are any numbers of drivers out in that area who tend to roll through the stop signs anyway. They just kind of look, no one's coming, they keep going. I may have done it a time or two myself.
You realize you are being recorded and the chief is right there.
But I do know on 18th, you have the speed limit coming across the overpass. It's 30 miles an hour until you get halfway up the second hole when it becomes 50. And I know I frustrated more than one driver who's been behind me as I go 30 miles an hour until I get there and speed up. But on Iona, I think the speed limit is 35. And then when you get down towards Maverick, it becomes 40.
Right.
So those are fairly quick speeds. If you have an intersection, it's going to be busy. So a roundabout really might be the thing to do. Thanks.
Plus, the other thing is, you know, with on the east end, or excuse me, on the west end, occasionally you have a lot more trucks going down Iona to get over to those scales. And that's something we've never had before.
And if you had families moving into those residences, what school would they go to? PW?
I don't think anyone
Yeah.
here knows the answer to that question. Oh, never mind. Maybe somebody does.
Evening, Madam Mayor. It's Chris Barner. I'm 415 Champion Street. I'm on the other side. high school wise, you got Lemoore. That's my biggest pain right now. I did choose to live on Champion. I love Champion. I love the area. But during the school year, it is a pain for traffic when it comes to students getting dropped off, walking around. With this development, you're adding even more people walking. That means there's more teenagers walking from this area over the overpass to the school. As well as, is the overpass going to get revamped for all of this traffic? And then also, just the pedestrian traffic in the area. So just thinking about the high school, plus the houses that are going behind it, might have some issues. Thank you.
We'll go ahead and go with the online question.
Stacey says, how will we be able to support more homes, our police/fire and water? Question mark. With more apartments and now new homes, how are we able to fully support this development too?
I can answer part of that. I believe this development would come with the CFD. Remind me of what that stands for again. Community Facilities District, which will help maintain services to the area, all services, including police and fire.
So it's an interesting question, Community Facilities District. So the other parts of this development that are would be all yellow. They're not in that CFD. They're not in any district, are they?
Those are all private properties, aren't they?
Can they be put in?
It's not a development.
Can they be put in the district? Did they vote themselves in a district?
So
Well, that could improve both sides, could improve Vine and Champion. Terms of urban buildings and streetlights. They're not.
So I want to, number one, defend Steve again tonight. But, so developments are brought to the city, especially residential developments. The city doesn't necessarily, go out seeking residential development. We welcome it. We welcome developers that want to come to our city and build. This project, while it does, request a zone change, is not requesting a PUD, so they're not asking to go below the minimum lot sizes. If any development in the city is going to cause havoc at the high school, because every parent from no matter where you live in the city that takes your kids to school or your kids are leaving school is going to cause a problem with the high school. So that's a school district issue. If the city council doesn't want any more housing, then maybe we need to have a different conversation. Is all I'm suggesting.
Did we say that? We don't.
I don't know, but I'm saying if that's where you're, if
You said you don't know. Did anybody say we don't need any more housing?
the conversation seems to be leading that we don't want more housing, that more housing is a problem that
We have a housing development that potentially had 500 homes. We've approved one with 300.
yes.
That doesn't seem to me, we just finished a development in two Lemoore projects. Doesn't seem
The
like we're saying,
one with the 300 homes, they're getting ready to start submitting building permits.
so. That's
So
good.
it's-
We've looked at their map. We've looked at their map. They came here and talked to us about their map. Right?
So I guess what I'm up here asking right now is, do we want housing development? Because I feel like we're bringing, so number one, to defend Steve, when we get a project, we look at the zoning code, the rules that are before us, and we do let developers know what council wants, like parks and And if they're worried about traffic and
Lot sizes.
council members come into the office, we let them, we give them that information, and there's a lot of back and forth before they even submit an actual plan. But then the plan is reviewed, both staff and the consultants review the plan per the municipal code and the requirements that are before us, and the developer has the option to bring something forward. So I just wanted to state, to be very clear, that when it is said that are we for the city because we're bringing a project? Yes, we are for the city. And yes, we give them what council has directed us, the information that you say that you want out of subdivisions and commercial development and all. We relay all of that to the developers. And then it's the developer's choice whether they want to move forward. So when they decide to move forward, then that's where we pick apart the municipal code and try to bring you something that fits the municipal code. And then we go from there. But I realize that this requires a zone change. And so that is purely up to city council. And I understand, I told you, I agree with, the city has traffic issues. Maybe that's an issue that city council needs to have a conversation they need to have with Public Works and put it into a 5-year plan to get Iona done. I don't know. But when a project is brought forth that I realize this one needs a zone change, but when a project is brought forth and it meets all the parameters of the municipal code, I just don't see saying that, well, can we support it with our police? Can we support it with our water? Can we support it with this? Why are we building more housing? Why are we building more housing? We do have the sphere of influence. We did a municipal services review. We have the CFD. We are behind the scenes and bringing things to you that are taking care of those things. So we are monitoring it. But I just want to know, I guess what I'm asking, took the long way around to ask, is what I was sitting there hearing was that there were comments made that we don't want more, we can't support more housing. So
Where did you hear that?
that's what I heard from my seat. So that's what I just wanted to clarify. Is that what I'm
Did you hear
hearing?
me say we
Because then
can't
we need
support
to,
any more housing?
okay.
Did you hear me say that?
That, I didn't say you directly, but I'm just, the conversation that was going, I just want to make sure that I'm understanding correctly, because otherwise then we
What were
need
we
to,
talking about?
excuse me?
What were we talking about?
We were talking about
This
housing.
project.
We were talking about.
At West Iona Avenue.
Well, we were talking about how many infill,
And
how
we
many
have a lot of infill.
how many lots.
This developer
Yeah,
has.
we're bringing a lot.
Has an
Yeah.
infill project on, forget the name of this.
And we brought 109 Hamlet Street.
Right.
We wanted to move forward with putting 4 homes on an infill lot.
3, didn't we?
So we.
I'm gonna
did
ask that you
4.
let her finish her sentence before you interrupt her, just so she can
We
get.
got 3 though, didn't we, on that?
4, didn't we?
I think we got
It
3.
was 4. But yeah, so I'm not up here to be argumentative. I really was just, I wanted to let you know that we bring something to you. By the time it gets to you, what we've looked at is what's in the municipal code, and it's purely up to, we can't make the decision. We don't have the authority
tell
to
you
make
what
the
I'm-
decision.
I think we should give you better guidance about what the council wants for housing.
That is what I would like.
And I
Because
think that's a
I think I
legitimate
have it,
request.
I think I have most of it, but there are times that I want, because I want to make sure that we are bringing to you, the council, what you. And again, we also have conversations with the developer, so I want you to understand this. We have conversations with the developer as to what the council wants. But it is up to the developer at that point to decide if they want to move forward with an application. And at that point, when they submit an application, staff doesn't have the choice other than to review that application, get it to a point where it actually meets municipal code, and then we bring it to you, the authoritative figures, to make the final decision, because we don't have that authority. So that's.
Let's talk about the project that you talked about with the 4 houses. They wanted to put
Mm-hmm.
4 houses on those lots, and we talked about keeping the trees and all that kind of stuff. That's our role. Okay.
Mhm.
But we didn't deny that project. We asked them to change it, and they were willing to do that. And so we moved forward. And with infill projects, this is an infill project.
Mhm.
10 years ago, the lot was a little different. Okay. fast forward to now, and from my point of view, it's not a good decision for us, okay? So.
And I'm not,
and
I'm
all
not,
I'm saying is from infill projects to brand new development, raw land that they want to build something, we should probably give you better ideas of what we're thinking of in terms of.
well, and maybe,
development.
maybe the city council needs to have a conversation about the, street improvements and what have you, in a serious one, instead of just at a council meeting, having a comment during a project review when a developer is here. Maybe there are conversations that need to be, meetings that need to be had or what have you, so that I don't know what came out of the goals and that sort of thing, but I just didn't, I just wanted to make sure that I understood you correctly, because not just you, but the conversation seemed to be headed, what I heard was why are we building more houses and not just this project? So I just wanted to make sure that if that's the direction that we're kind of going, then council needs to have a conversation with staff to where we know, and maybe it's something there's a resolution or something.
Yeah, I don't think it's not about the quantity of the houses. It's about the quality of the houses and the location for me. And I've said before, I don't want to become a 55, 70,000 city just to have houses.
Are there any other public comment?
Hi, my name is Stacy Jones, 117 Canterbury Drive. I'm the one that actually commented online. It's nothing against the housing. I want the housing here. The thing is I want to make sure that we have enough fire, police, enough infrastructure to be able to handle the houses that we're getting. We have great apartment complexes that are going up, low-income housing that we are getting, and I see that. We need it. I know that. I have friends that need it. I have family that needs it. It's expensive to live here at times, where even though we do have, a really good town, I don't want it to grow so big to where we don't have the fire and the police to protect everything that we have. I enjoy Lemoore. I love living here. I didn't move out of this area for a reason. I want the parks. I want everything that we want. We're all on the same team, not trying to go against you by any means. And that's why I drove over here. I was the one listening online. I drove here to make sure, clarify that statement, that it was truly about, I just want to make sure the police are supported, because I know how many people that they have and they already work hard enough as is. I want to make sure that they're going to be able to do their jobs properly. Our fire department's volunteer. They're doing an amazing job, but they are volunteer. We can only do so many. We have to be able to support the infrastructure that we have. We have a lot of houses being built. We have apartments being built. I want to make sure that they're supported. And our school systems too, because let's be honest, we're really booming in that area too. So that's it. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Any other questions, comments, concerns from the public? Seeing none, I'll go ahead and close the public hearing and bring it back to council. Any last thoughts?
Well, I have a dumb one.
Shoot.
I got a question for you. Oh, you're gonna get so mad at me right now.
Okay,
Vine Street.
yeah,
Vine Street used to be connected to the 198.
yes.
I already know where you're going with this.
Yeah, it's dumb, huh? Can we reconnect Vine to the eastbound 198 lanes?
Have you had a conversation with Caltrans?
Yeah, I know, but I mean, it's just, listen.
But how about a pedestrian bridge?
The city's actually been trying to work on,
We have looked at
That.
the potential for a pedestrian overcrossing, so that.
which this development could help.
And that was my second question, and that was gonna be my smarter question. So the pedestrian bridge,
Yeah,
how possible is that at Vine?
it's possible. I haven't been in the conversations, but I've heard there were some initial conversations with Caltrans and they didn't laugh.
Well, that's good.
Yeah. So, I mean, like everything else, it'd be an expensive project, but I think if any place along there deserves one, it should be at that location.
That's all I have. I'm done with the dumb stuff.
Anyone
Steve,
else?
is there, oh,
Go ahead.
sorry, go ahead. Oh,
No, too, that's.
the west side of Vine, is that gonna be future housing too, potentially? Is
Where the
that-
church is.
Yeah, where the church is and all that.
Off and on, we've had conversations with the church and reminded them, hey, you've got a lot of extra land. You could sell that off for development, yeah. We'd like to get, I forget what the neighborhood that self-help started is called on the west side of Vine. I mean, it's only got one,
King's Oil?
yeah, it's only got one way in and out, and we'd like
Yeah.
to design something so that so those stubwood streets could connect.
Cause I do know that there's a potential, what is that, like a little shopping center or business going in off Iona right there. The Rodriguez's own it,
I mean, that long lot,
the long lot, yeah.
yeah, but that's not a, well, I thought it was gonna be similar to the
But it's supposed to be like off, something like that, isn't it?
office complex.
Oh,
Industrial,
it didn't, yeah.
yeah, that area over there.
There's a few site plans we've approved along Iona and, they haven't come to fruition.
Yeah,
We do have the engineering, they have a plan line for Iona, and for those that don't know what a plan line is, it is laid out the future right of way and the curb and gutter line for the future Iona street to make it 4 lanes. So we know where it needs to be. It's just a matter of having the funds to design it and build it.
What's cheaper, a pedestrian bridge or rebuilding Iona? Yeah, I know the answer.
I'd rather rebuild Iona because then I don't have to talk to Caltrans.
that's true.
Although you may have to on Lemoore Avenue.
Well, no, I mean, yeah, and Lemoore Avenue goes over, so we'd have to talk to them. One thing I want to comment on, we're growing at about 1% a year on average. And that's typical for San Joaquin Valley towns. We're the only region other than the Inland Empire that's doing that. All the other regions in the state are shrinking. Not because they're tearing down houses, but because people are leaving. There's more people leaving than are coming in. So 20 years ago, we were growing about 3% a year. So I don't want to speak for police and fire, but I think they can handle the increase.
One as a comment.
I'm sorry, but I mean, it's not a huge jump. It's something you can plan for and expect to happen.
Well, yeah, that's something you should expect.
Yeah. So if we want to be, because I mean, I do planning in the San Joaquin Valley because it's a growing region. I would not want to be a city planner in Kansas or Arkansas. They don't grow fast enough. So
And our
that's
county-
what we do here.
Our county has basically been the same population for a decade.
What's that?
Our county. Kings County.
Well, and that's a good discussion. Kings County is unique in that they have chosen not to compete with their cities for growth. You don't see that in Fresno County. You don't see it in Kern County. You really don't see it in Kern. Bakersfield would be bigger than Oakland if all the county islands were in the city.
Yeah.
Again, not to, raise a flag for unlimited growth, but planned growth. We have a plan for Iona. We just have to get it done. It would be great if we could build the road first, but that's not how it's working out. We'll build it when it's needed. We had a similar issue on the north side with track 935. 935, it said you have to build a signal at Hanford Laguna Road and Liberty. And now we're designing it and it's going to go out for construction. So we're just trying to keep up.
I'm just gonna reiterate that those improvements aren't gonna be made to the area if there's no development going in. And this development or any development going in pays into the impact fees to help fund those projects. So I just want to make sure that that's clear that we don't have the money sitting around to do it. So it is helpful that money is put in from development to those impact fees to get this stuff done.
Well, you know, in the education business, we use impact fees, particularly at K-12 level. We use impact fees. But in many cases, they bond themselves against those impact fees. In other words, they'll go out and get bonds. So they have the cash now to do some things and let those fees take care of those things. We should look at the same thing.
That's a different conversation than this item though. But I understand what you're
That's a
saying. but that's a
possibility, but yeah, it's.
Different conversation than we're having right now. That's something that we
It's about
can.
my own. We did it.
I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm just saying like maybe we should bring that back as a agenda item to talk about in the future. I think we have beat this to death and then some. So looking for direction from council.
What do you need? Are you needing a motion in a second? Needing
I don't have
consensus?
the
What do you
wording
need?
in front of me. What is the recommended motion
Because it
for?
doesn't say approval or anything on it.
It'll be on the staff
The
report.
proposed motion's the first page of the staff report.
It'll be a
Right there, proposed motion, move to adopt resolution 2026-08, approving general plan amendment number 2026-01 and tentative track map number 948 in accordance with the findings and conditions in the resolution, and introduce ordinance number 202604, approving zoning map amendment number 2026-01 and waive the first reading.
I'd like to bring it back for a second reading of the city manager. Sure, that's just.
To bring it back for a second reading, we need to get through this one.
We can table it.
Then we'll be back to the where we are now. It doesn't get us to the second.
I move to adopt. Resolution. All that. And then some.
Have a motion.
And this is just for the amendment of the general
Yes,
plan,
this is
correct?
just the
This
general
is
plan.
not-
That's the whole, this
And-
item
and the
is just,
and approving the map.
And
yeah. Those two items. I will second it. We have a motion by Councilmember Lyons and a second by me. Councilmember Lyons,
yes.
I vote yes. Brewster,
Yeah,
Cruz,
Yes.
Hornick,
Oh,
passes 4 in favor, 1 no.
Hey, Steve, can I do, I just want to say something.
Yeah.
It'd be nice to have some kind of conversation about, I think a roundabout at the Vine would offer a lot of ease of movement from both of those neighborhoods combined onto Iona. And which would kind of allow more or less the Vine to be an access and Champion to be the access and Vine would be the outlet more or less. Or the pedestrian bridge, or even reconnecting the Vine to the 188, which I know is a no-no. But one of those three things.
No, and because both Iona and Vine are both collector streets, and that's one of my favorite intersections to put a roundabout on.
And
Is a collector street.
Yes, I think it would, I think actually the roundabout would probably be the cheapest version of all three of those ideas.
Of those three, yeah.
Just to reiterate, that is definitely a conversation to have in the future when this moves forward.
Yeah. I just wanted to kind of put out there some thought on it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We have no new business. Next, we have city council reports and requests. Councilmember Brewster.
yeah, I covered for Mayor Matthews at KCAG and CART. I believe this was the first meeting at the new chambers over there.
Yes.
And in the new CART building. That's a very nice facility. Wasn't much to report out of CART. KCAG, we approved the contract for trying to find Terry's replacement. What else did we have? I think that was all for that. I had my public safety policy committee for Cal Cities. A couple bills that they were talking about for cities. There's a bill for PRAs, AB 2517, that is going through to kind of help cities with some timelines and stuff like that. Juvenile justice was a hot topic. E-bikes was out of control on topics. I was like, we don't have that many problems with e-bikes. So they were all over that. There is another bill that's in the works, SB 1156. They're talking about giving DUI offenders, so you've been convicted of a DUI, all that good stuff. They potentially could be getting a different ID card that's going to prevent the sales of alcohol to DUI offenders for a certain amount of time. There's a lot of opposition to it. There's a lot of people for it. I think it's a double-edged sword, because the policy behind it is just that they can't buy it. Okay, that's cool. So me and Stu go, I get a DUI, Stu goes and buys me beer. I'm over 21. Then what do you do? Like, so what's the policy behind possession of it, under the influence of it? There's so many questions and follow-up I had to it. They looked at me and told me to basically shut up. So I did. The meeting went on. So we'll see what happens out of that. Besides that, hope everybody had a good Easter, and yeah, that's it.
Councilmember Lang.
So, yeah, thank you for everyone that participated in the Easter thing. I'm pretty sure Mrs. Matthews down there had 10,000 eggs or something like that she donated or something. I'm sure of it. And Brenda Martin, I just wanted to say that I really enjoyed my interactions with her. She was a really good person, really good for the city. She cared about the city. She cared about the city a lot, which I'm here to tell you, everybody sitting up here cares for the city a lot. And which I don't want anyone to feel beat up. Sir, I did not catch your name. Young man, what was your name? Mike. So Mike, Steve, and my little young Christy Bailey right here. I know you guys felt like we were beating you up. I think Gornick did most of the punching, but we only do it because we care about this city. That is the main purpose for sitting up here. I tell you back. That's the only purpose for sitting up here, is because we care. And sometimes it's gonna feel a little heavy-handed, but I don't know. It's not an easy job sitting up here sometimes, especially when you feel like, yeah, this is what's best for the town, but I don't know if it's the right avenue or the right delivery mechanism. That's all I wanted to say. And Chief, you're doing a good job. Thank you. Well done.
Councilmember Cruz.
I don't have anything there.
Councilmember Gordon.
Nope, nothing.
I don't have a lot to share, and I'm gonna surprise you. But I did attend the regional Amtrak meeting that was held at the county offices. It moves its self around the state. But they have changed their name, if you don't know, to, sorry, they have changed their name, if you don't know, to Gold Runner. So Gold Runner. I didn't come up with the name. But it is interesting to see all of the improvements that they're trying to make to improve ridership and connectivity.
I've seen some commercials.
Oh,
I
yeah.
wondered what that.
It's all over Facebook and Instagram too. I think because I attended the meeting, my algorithm's messed up now. Also attended another tour of the Fresno Burn Center with the fire department. Thank you for allowing me to come on another tour. if you don't know, the Burn Center is an amazing, what is it, from Bakersfield to where north do they go? Is their region? It's like the whole San Joaquin Valley, and they are the only certified burn center in the area. They do a lot, and it's pretty incredible that they do all that with minimal resources like we're used to in the Central Valley, not having those resources that other areas have. But it was a pleasure to attend that and get to see all of, yeah, I'll just leave it at that. I also want to talk about, I also attended policy committee meeting in Costa Mesa. I sit on the Housing, Community and Economic Development Policy Committee. We were talking about one bill that would, something about, I don't have it in front of me, so I apologize, but something about plan checks going, like using AI to go through instead of people and trying to streamline that service. That went through policy committee and will go to the executive board of Cal Cities to vote on their position, which they could accept the policy committee's position or oppose it or support if amended or whatever. They can completely disregard anything that policy council recommends. I was not for that one. And then the subsequent two, again, I don't have them in front of me. One was adding childcare into the, I believe it was like the general plan. And then another one, I can't remember what it was, but in both of those I spoke up because something that I'm seeing a lot in that policy committee is a lot of the bills coming forward are things that cities can do on their own. It doesn't need to be a state law. So I did bring up that, and I did say that I'm not trying to make enemies in the room before I said it. But I feel like some cities maybe don't want to make those hard decisions if they think that that's what's best for their community. And they're relying on the state to make those decisions or pushing the state to make those decisions because they don't, want the blowback from their community or what have you. But if we think that that's something that is going to benefit our city in some way, that is our duty to step up and say, let's change this for us. I think that a broad stroke of state legislature is not the answer for everyone in California. And they tended to agree that the both of those didn't pass overwhelmingly, I think, because once you look at it that way, like we do forget that we should be about local control and not the state telling us everything that we have to do under the sun. And one thing that, works for a big city doesn't work for a smaller city, or we don't have the funds to implement something that another city doesn't even bat an eye at. It's not one size fits all. And
You're going for.
no, no. That you messed me up. But that's the importance of being on those policy committees, is to be able to be the voice of our area, our city, our region in the broader California spectrum. Because usually the bigger cities are the ones that have the loudest voice. But sometimes they listen to smaller cities, I guess, when we have some common sense. But that's the importance of that. And I also want to mention that I did attend ICSC with Christy and our city manager, Marissa. And that is to bring business to Lemoore, as we know that there's not a lot of businesses here. There's not a lot of jobs here. And the purpose of that is to bring in revenues and jobs that will help support city services. Even where we are now without more growth, we're not sustainable with our current revenues. And we all know that we need more jobs in the area. We have regulations that are pushing, state regulations, I should say, that are pushing businesses out of California, which is causing an issue. And we've felt that in this local area with a lot of, not just Lemoore, but even Hanford and some of the, and Fresno, some of the surrounding areas, losing some large number of jobs, because people are closing up due to regulations or energy costs, et cetera. But rooftops do equal economic development. So that is something that I want to make sure that, we do understand. I heard you sigh, I get it. But I'm just, it is the facts. That's all I'm saying. And with that, we're gonna adjourn. Thank you for joining us.